On this game, let's hear from both managers.
There's a lot of ways of doing things. Coachy has been very good for us this season and the past seasons, and I think that's very important to be aware of. I wouldn't have done it. Coachy is a very passionate character and player. Sometimes when you are like that, sometimes there is can come an outburst, happen this time, and it's something we have, of course, dealt with internally.
Slightly different game to maybe what we've played over recent weeks in some ways, but we're looking forward to it. You know, we're in a good place, and boys have worked well again this week. Again, feet on the ground. Let's not get carried away with what's gone on, but it's about what's next again. So big challenge ahead, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, Tim, what do you make of the whole Romero situation? You know, 2 weeks ago, he was out on social media, then again this week after City.
Yeah, I don't know why he's doing it. I don't see the logic in it. I really don't. He's taking on the club. It's not good. It's not good for the fans. It's not good for the club. It's not good for the players. You know, I just think he needs to concentrate on playing. The fans quite like him. They quite like him in the opposition box. I'm not sure about defending his own box, what he's paid to do. You know, because he's not very reliable in that front. But they've got worse players. You know, he does drive them forward. He has come up with some vital goals at the end of games to rescue some points for Spurs. But he needs to keep his mouth shut, in my opinion. I just don't think it's healthy for the club all round. I just think he needs to let the recruitment guys look after recruitment, let the manager manage the club, and he needs to concentrate on just playing football.
How would you manage that situation?
Well, just tell him there's no future in that. You know, all you're doing is spreading negativity around the football club, and it's exactly what we don't need at the moment when the results are not going that well. So just concentrate on playing. We can sort out your future. You know, we can do it in the background. If you want to leave at the end of the season, it looks like he wants to leave. I mean, he's talking his way out of the clubs for sure. Then we can, you know, find a way for you to move. I'm sure there'll be clubs willing to take him. But at the moment, it's causing a negative atmosphere and a negative vibe around the place, especially when there's a lot of players at the club who you would like to keep, especially Mickey van der Ven, who's his defensive partner there. Tottenham will fight tooth and nail to keep hold of Mickey van der Ven because there'll be a queue around the block to come and take him because he's proved that he can stay fit. And he is an hierarchy player. I would say if everyone's fit, Mickey van der Ven plays, he's the first on the team sheet. I can't really name any other Tottenham player who I could say that about. You know, there's a much of a muchness about all of them, really. So this is going to be a great game of football. This is the top game of the weekend. That's how many good games there are. Well, it's two. For
you? This is the top game for you?
For me, it's a top game. I think it's a good game of football because there's so much at stake for Manchester United. I mean, Michael Carrick's done brilliantly. Yeah. The first two games were more than just 2 wins. It was against two of the best teams in Europe, you know. So it's the performance, the way they were organised. It was a different vibe. It was more like Manchester United. He's almost like taken us back to the Manchester United good old days. Early stages, of course it is, and we can't get carried away with it. But it's going to be a very difficult game for Tottenham.
Yeah, you're saying taking us back to the old days of Manchester United. That winner against Fulham came in Fergie time, didn't it, from Šeško?
Yeah, and I think that was what Tim's alluding to there, those kind of feels of Fergie time. And do you know what? He just seems to have tapped into the club's DNA. He knows exactly he knows the club's values. He knows it from top to bottom, and he seems to be installing it in this new look Manchester United team. And all of a sudden, he's getting more out of the players. They've got a little bit of an organisation. I feel as though he made a couple of really good changes. He's in bringing Mainu back to win the fans over, moving Bruno Fernandes further forward, like kind of power plays almost as a manager. And all of a sudden, the team are playing for him.
He's kept it nice and simple, hasn't he? You know, he's gone in with a back four. He's playing players in their positions, what they recognise. He's got Šeško to score goals, where he got a couple against Burnley before, and then that's a fantastic finish there. Anderson defending a lot to be desired, but it's a good finish. This sweeps into the corner. That will give him confidence.
Casemiro revival.
Yeah, recruitment's been good as well, hasn't it? Cunha
and he's pushed Bruno forward.
Yeah.
So it's got the options now. Cunha's a good player, and Mbeumo's a good player. Mason Mount's back to fitness.
Martinez back.
Yeah, there's confidence within the team once again. The question is it a new manager bounce or is Michael Carrick a long-term option?
No, listen, regardless of these results, when Michael Carrick put pen to paper on this kind of from then to the end of the season deal, there's no doubt in his mind he would have thought, do you know what, if I can get the right results, I will take this job permanently. You always back yourself as a footballer and as a manager, and he'll believe that this job can be his, and he can't do any more at the moment. As far as I'm concerned, I really like this profile of his staff. I like Steve Holland as an older head who's a good coach. I like Johnny Evans, who's kind of that conduit between the players and knowing that playing staff, and then you've obviously got Jonathan Woodgate, who's played in the best clubs in the world. So for me, I think when you get a look at his staff and him and the players he's got, they were underperforming. How could you not look like you were going to be successful? Even if you hadn't won these games, you was going to get better results than hammering because they were underperforming so badly. So for me, I think he will have half an hour in the job, and he did have when he put pen to paper.
Yeah, many saying now in pole position in that race for Champions League places, can they end the season even higher? What do you think Manchester United should expect?
They're not going to win the league, so I think second or third is realistic for them. It would be a fantastic return. I think they'll be in a position where they might have to give him the job. He's always going to be tarnished with that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer brush, unfortunately, for the interim manager. Then when he takes it permanently, it was a little bit too much for him. I don't believe that is the case with Michael Carrick. I think it's a different manager, it's a different temperament, and someone who's managed at Middlesbrough, well organised. I know it's a different level, but he knows the environment inside out. He knows the club he's going into. I think he's a perfect fit for him. And if he doesn't get the job, then he will walk into a big job in the Premier League anyway, if he's got the appetite again.
All that said means that it's a very tough game for Spurs. Your game of the weekend, as you said, I'm sure you want to see Spurs start this game the way they ended against City. Yeah,
we keep saying that though. The reason why they're in the position where they are, 14th in the league, is because they have too many of them halves. We keep saying, well, they ended that game well. They ended well against Villa. They ended up losing the game. They ended well the other day there, but they don't start well. It's sometimes when you're lost a game almost and you throw caution to the wind, it's quite easy as a player to go and do that. But he needs to have them organised from the outset, and they need to be more drilled, more organised out of possession, and certainly more progressive in their play. They're boring to watch. They don't pass the ball forward enough. They don't get enough shots off. I think it's a very negative Tottenham side at the moment, and them results just tell you a story. Yeah,
may actually count in their favour that they're playing away from home.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel for Thomas Frank when I look at, when you talk about going forward and attacking, he's lost Solanke for a large chunk of the season, lost Kudus, lost Maddison, Kulusevski. Like a lot of his top players have been injured. I quite like the profile of some of the players that he's signed. I like Simmons, but I think for large periods of the season he was in that 10 and he's driving forward and there's no one in front of him. All of a sudden when he's got a 9 in front of him, looks like a different player, doesn't he? So I think there could be good signs at Spurs.
Just quick thoughts on Solanke's goals?
I mean, fortunate. Is that fair to say? I think I really like the way he dusts Kusherev off in the last game. But I mean, the Scorpion one is fortunate. I mean, that is bread and butter there, getting in between the sticks and those headers. But yeah, I mean, I like him. I like him a lot. I think that's very fortunate. I think you're beyond the ball, Tim. You just flick an ankle at it.
It makes a difference to him, doesn't he? He's a point. He's a focal point.
He's the only natural 9 they've got.
Yeah. And Richarlison. I agree with all the injuries, but when they draw to Burnley, who have got a foot in the Championship, West Ham at home as well, London Derby, where it's very emotional for the fans. You can't get them beat off them. It doesn't matter how many injuries you got. Away at Bournemouth, with respect, they've done all right, but the last kick of the game, there's some disappointing results even with their injuries. Every team has injuries. It's how you cope with them.
Yeah, but those are some big names and big injuries that have been out, especially, as you've already mentioned there, Glenn, in terms of the creativity that's been missing for Spurs.
Well, I think the major creativity in their team, and obviously, as we mentioned, the number 9 as well. I think when you look beyond that, there's a lot of players very much on a similar keel at Spurs, and they've had the opportunity in this first half of the year, and they haven't really grasped that opportunity, have they? So when these boys do come back, I'm sure they'll be starting, and it'll be a more potent attack for Spurs.
We're going to move on.
League Friday. Man United are flying under Michael Carrick. They host Spurs tomorrow, looking for a 4th win in a row for the first time in 2 years. Now, despite not knowing who will be in charge next season, Michael Carrick says the players have fully bought into his methods.
The players have been spot on and fully focused, to be honest. I think listen, we all aware of the bigger situation and what ifs and what might happen, but I think as a player anyway, you're focused on what's ahead of you and trying to achieve what you can at this moment in time and for the rest of the season. So I've got no issues with it. I've got no concerns. The lads have been better than you could imagine in terms of fully invested in it, and I've said that over the last couple of weeks anyway.
Mainu. You're on the turn. Oh, what a hit! What a sensational hit from Mateus Cunha! And Manchester United have it again!
We're just focusing on being better and improving and getting ourselves in this club to where we want to be, you know, and it's small steps, but it's obviously a big end to the season that we're looking towards.
So that is Michael Carrick. I mean, it's the question we keep asking each week now, which is how is he going to get this job permanently, Ben?
Getting into Europe gives him a really good chance. I think if he does that, he will be in the running to get it permanently. But I've been really impressed with him. He's so like he was as a player. He's calm. He's composed. Yeah. He's got a good group of staff around him. The players will give him respect immediately. He's in a familiar sort of environment, which he's just walked into, and it's not sort of rabbit in the headlights. He's taken it in his stride, and they got away with it a little bit at the weekend with the goal. But it's kind of, I guess, a throwback to where United, and that will be the narrative, won't it? United's winning last minute.
I mean, an incredible goal scored against them as well. Kevin Scott was out some hit.
Fantastic goal.
Yeah.
You think it's 2-2, obviously, then.
But they're winning the games. They're winning those games. I mean, Merce, for you, do you think he does? Is there any scenario that you think he keeps this job?
The one thing he needs, and it probably wouldn't help him, is probably to win 5 or 6 on the trot and then lose 3 or 4 on the trot.
Yeah.
And then how do you respond?
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But then if you lose 3 or 4 on the trot, everybody go, oh, he shouldn't be made. But the only way we're ever going to know is when you lose them 3 or 4 games and the scrutiny comes on you, you're at the biggest club in the world or one of them, how you're going to cope. You know, we see this with Solskjaer. He come in, he's at the wheel.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you see pictures of him at Watford away that day when they got destroyed and he just looked lost. He probably needs to lose 4 on the trot and then come back and win 5 on the trot and everybody go, that's a good manager. You know, he's turned it around, the pressure was on. That's the only way we're ever going to know. But it wouldn't look good on him if he lost 4 on the trot, but that's the only way we're ever going to know.
Yeah, do you think this is, though, when you look at it, Ben, do you think this is the kind of Solskjaer situation, or is this a different, is this a different manager?
Well, that's what he's getting judged on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen it before. Yeah. You know, Solskjaer come in, and Rio was saying, I respect Rio's opinions, and he was real sure, he's at the wheel, and it didn't work out. And you don't want to judge someone, but you can only judge a manager by when they lose in football matches. When you come in and you win, it's easy.
I think that's where it's important.
It's easier than punditry then. It is easier than punditry. It's when you start losing games. Yeah. But, you know what I mean? I would like to see him, just for him to lose 3 and then bounce back and win 5 on the trot. And then I'm like, give him the job.
I think that's where it's good to have a support staff as well around you. Yeah. People that know the game.
He's done well to bring in Steve Holland.
Yeah, Steve Holland and people like that would be important as well.
Yeah, I mean, do you see it? From a player's perspective as well? Do you see the reaction from the Man United players? That's not them just going, we're still good players. It's them working for a new man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're down tools for the previous manager. I think they were. Still giving him it wasn't working. No, it wasn't working. The whole system. You bring Harry Maguire back in. You got Martinez back in there, giving him a solid base as well. Know the league, and then you let the players flourish. Obviously, Fernandes has been fantastic this year. Brian's been great. Brian Mbeumo and Cunha's looking to be a little bit more sharper now as well, and scoring goals, which is fantastic for them. So yeah, just players. When a new manager does come in, it just kind of give you a little bit more of a bounce. But the person Carrick is as well, and the people that are around we've spoken about, just demands respect, for what he's done at the club as well.
Do you think this is...
Yeah, he's just done something very simple. He put everybody in their own position.
I think...
Do you know what I mean?
He's put Bruno Fernandes where he should be playing.
Exactly, and then he's put Casemiro with Mainu, and look at Casemiro now. He's got help there, and they're both flourishing. Everybody plays in their positions now. It's weird how it works.
I know. I mean, Bruno Fernandes...
Then it's easier than pundit.
Then it's easier. I love it. Bruno, you touched on him there. He's in some form. He's got 12 Premier League assists. He's close to that record, which is 20 by Henry and Kevin De Bruyne in a Premier League season. Do you think he can do that? Do you think he can go on and beat that?
He'll make the chances. It's up to them to put the ball in the back of the net. He'll make more than 8 clear-cut chances before the end of the season.
Yeah.
But it's up to the people to put the ball in the back of the net. They haven't really got, in my opinion, a natural goal scorer. Like someone who is natural, he's going to score. You see Man United's goals, they're always top draw, weldy goals. You never get that bounces off the post and someone taps it in from 4 yards and they go, oh, I could have scored that. No one else was there. Like a Gary Lineker, like Haaland can.
Poacher goals,
Poacher goals. They haven't got that natural goal scorer, but he will make enough chances to beat that record. They just got to put the ball in the back of the net, and if they do, he won't be far off.
I mean, it's been quite impressive as well. I mean, in terms of set pieces, they're scoring more goals than Arsenal from set pieces, and it's kind of going a bit unnoticed. I mean, when you've got a player of Bruno Fernandes' quality, I mean, that's always going to come, isn't it?
Yeah, going to say that his quality in set pieces. You got someone like him in the side is fantastic, and Miss was saying, I can't remember what you were saying.
No, about anyway. Bruno Fernandes is set plays. The one with the Casemiro.
Yeah,
it's just a
phenomenal.
Brilliant free kick. Do you know what I mean? One, it's hard to pick up, and two, it's a cross that you can score from. Yeah. It's not one of them second phase.
Saying about a centre forward though, he's managed to get as many as he has without a centre forward. Centre forward. So there's no chance of saying that he can't do that with the next ones.
I think the big question now, looking ahead towards that end of the season, where they are going to, Ineos are going to have a decision to make, and it's a hard one to work out right now. Is the pressure on? Is it on Michael Carrick or is it the pressure on Ineos?
I think it's on Ineos more than Carrick. But the one thing with Michael Carrick, and the most dangerous thing is for Man United, if they go and get someone else, and he will get a job somewhere, because if he keeps on doing what he's doing, still a lot of games to go, but if he keeps on doing what he's doing, he could haunt Man United. He could haunt Man United by going somewhere else and doing well. But all he can do, I don't know if the meeting was, you're coming in, we've already got a manager coming in, you just don't know, and he's been given an unbelievable platform. He's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world of football, there's no doubt about that in my opinion. If he keeps on doing what he's doing, he won't be a pundit.
Yeah. Ben, how much have you bought into that Man United DNA and their need for something like that?
I'm not sure. I think every manager has their own way of playing and things. Obviously, United, massive club, massive history with the way things have been previous years, last couple of years. Obviously, went to a different sort of formation and whatnot. But obviously there'll be a narrative now. Obviously, with the way they've won the previous game and that's back. But I mean, time will tell in the way Carrick wants to play and do things. But as Mer said before, players are playing in the right positions, playing where they should be, which makes it life easier for them and for him as well.
Absolutely. So that's Man United. I feel like next we should have done the poll being what's harder, manager or pundit. That should have been it.
No. Managing's much harder.
Much harder.
Believe me.
Well, welcome back to Premier League Friday. Former Spurs captain Michael Dawson has joined myself, Paul Merson, and then me on the sofa. Before we chat, let's hear a shock admission from Thomas Frank, who has admitted that he doesn't know if Christian Romero will be at the club next season. It comes after Romero appeared to criticise the club's ownership on social media for the second time in a month.
That's a question I have no idea about. Right now, he is the captain, and it's a long-term contract, and we signed a new contract with him in the summer.
Is he still the captain, Romero?
What do you think? The answer is yes. Leadership is many things. Leadership is, I'm 52 years old. I think I'm pretty good at leadership. Can I get better every single day? Yes. Do I make mistakes? Maybe not every single day, but probably weekly. Romeo is 27 years old. He will still make mistakes going forward as a leader. Does he do a lot of good things? Yes.
You've joined us at the right time, Dors. You know what's coming. I mean, look, Romero, that whole situation, I mean, let's cut straight to it. Do you think he is going to be there next season? And I guess the other thing is, should he be there next season?
I think it's an absolute disaster for Thomas Frank to have to come out and answer that. It's the worst thing, the position that Tottenham are in at this moment in time. Your captain comes and puts that post up straight after the deadline day window is shut, and you're thinking, wow, I don't need this. I think Thomas has come out there, he's been very, very honest, which we always expect. I think he's laid it on the table, he will still be his captain.
Yeah.
Who knows what will happen in the summer? Yeah. Only time will tell. He signed a new contract, Christian Romero, in the summer. He was given the armband when Thomas Frank came in. And has he made a mistake? In my opinion, I think he has. Coming out that, and some Spurs fans will be at home saying, no, he's come out and voiced his opinion, it's right, they didn't sign many players. That's his opinion, but just keep it in-house. If you want to go and have a meeting with a hierarchy, that happens behind closed doors, but you don't need to wear it to everyone. It makes an issue out of something that could have been kept in for me. And I've said, this isn't what Thomas Frank needed at this moment in time.
How much of an issue is it, though? Like, is it to the point where, like, are people questioning, should he still be captain, do you think?
No, I mean, he's made a mistake.
Yeah.
No doubt in that. And Thomas give him the armband. There was probably, for me, him or Mickey van der Ven in the summer that he could have give it to, and he went with Romero, so he's sticking by it. If you take it off him now, it's an even bigger issue for me. Yeah. He's cleared it up, he wants to put that to bed. I didn't like it, and now you're prepared for Manchester United tomorrow.
Ben, how obviously worked with Thomas Frank, you will know firsthand what he's kind of like in a situation like this. When you saw this kind of go out there, how do you think Thomas Frank is going to be perceiving it all?
Yeah, you can tell he's not happy. I think he was very diplomatic in the way he answered the question.
Yeah.
As Dors said, I think the captain's allowed an opinion, but for the good of the club, the good of the team, it stays in-house. If you've got a problem with the owners, you can speak to the owners and talk to them about it. I think airing it out in public, it just doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help Thomas, doesn't help the team. You know, they're under pressure as it is at the minute. You know, Romero's made a few mistakes this season, and you know, this is one of them. So Thomas will be looking at that and seeing, you know, what's gone on throughout the season as well, and this just adds to it as well for him. And I think
is he a manager to kind of calm those situations down? Though?
He's a very calm manager, but you'll know when he's not happy for sure. Right. I think he's not someone to shout on ball, but he will you know, chat and speak and do it in a very calm way, but you know, a way that you will know that it's not acceptable.
Will he let Christian Romero know that is not what he wants?
Look, I like to think he's got a good rapport with his captain. He did at Brentford with Christian Norgard. They spoke on a daily basis, weekly basis, and you know, I'd like to think that he does that. He has a good rapport with all his players, and I think it'd be the same at Spurs as well. I think he'll have respect for him, and he will have had a chat with him for sure.
Mers, do you think this whole situation, is it highlighting that so-called lack of leaders that Spurs have got?
To be fair, he wears his heart on his sleeve.
Always.
He wears his heart. You know, I give him that. He works his heart on his sleeve. The problem they've got, they're two of their better players, him and Van der Ven. You know, the two centre-halves, I think they're a good pair when they're both fit and they're right at it. But this is going to be a hard one now. You know, if you're a Tottenham fan, you don't want to lose him. I don't know how they replace him, if I'm being honest. I think he's one of them when they're both playing together. You've got to start from somewhere with Tottenham, and that's at the back going forward. And you've got to keep them keeping clean sheets or trying to keep clean sheets, and I think he'll be on his way at the end of the season, which is a shame. You know, I wouldn't like to play against him.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't think many players would.
With him, don't you?
I wouldn't have liked to have played against him. He don't mess about. So but as a manager, when I was manager at Walsall, a couple of things happened and that was down here. Yeah. But Thomas Franks would have seen that and gone, oh no, I just don't need this.
Do you think that, you know, Dors, that comeback against City, it was quite something, you know, that second half display, it was really like, it almost looked like, you know, the players really looked like they were getting behind Thomas Frank. Do you think that was what they were doing there? Do you think that's enough to do?
I mean, the first half performance was really, really poor. As poor as I've seen them for a long time, and I've seen them an awful lot this season. And there's been moments in the season where they have put performances like the second half. I mean, I look at the game against Sunderland in the first half, could have been out of sight. Second half, bang average, and then they end up drawing the game. So there has been periods where you're going, they're performing. And then on the flip side, it hasn't. But I think there was huge positives. I mean, Romero came off, went to a back four. I mean, there's so many injuries in camp at the moment. I mean, you look at Archie Graham to play right back, they played with a back three. Polina was playing right of a three. Yeah. So everyone's playing in different positions. It's been a real challenge for Thomas going in there. Huge football club with expectations to be doing way better. He will know that, Ben. He's at a club that is sitting 14th. I know they finished 17th last year, but that is not where Spurs should be sitting, in my opinion, with this group of players.
I think, Ben, for you, have you been kind of shocked by the style of play, let's say, that Spurs are playing? Because sometimes it feels like they're not going for it enough. You know, at Brentford we saw goals flowing. You had Mbumo, Wissa. When you watch Spurs, are you like, this isn't a Thomas Frank team, or do you see the same bits that you were put through?
No, I think he would like to play a bit more of a attacking way, a creative way. I think there's a lack of confidence within the side as well. I think there's players that are still trying to find their feet. Xavi Simons is a fantastic player, but he's just taking a little bit of time, as we spoke about Wirtz before. A little bit of time to get going in the Premier League, and Solanke's come back into the side and not really had. They've had Richarlison up there a little bit, and young lad Ottelua playing. There's a lot of young players within that as well, but I think he does want to play a little bit more attacking. I see players turning down, forward passes to go back a little bit more, and he'll probably be frustrated in that. A little bit of confidence to play forward, to play, that little bit more with a bit more of a risk as well at times. Will certainly benefit them, but that comes with confidence as well. And they're not getting the results, they're not getting the performances as well, and it kind of sort of seeps into the team, I guess. Yeah,
one player that you mentioned there, Dominic Solanke. I mean, Merce, he got one of the most spectacular goals we've ever seen at the weekend. How much confidence does that do for a player going into their next game when you pull off something like that?
Well, I mean, they're a 1 in a million goal, weren't they? I mean, it's a phenomenal goal. I mean, can't win, can they, Tottenham? He scores that goal and probably win Arsenal the Premier League, that goal will. Do you know what I mean? He can't. I like Solanke. He's been unlucky, Frank, and Tottenham themselves. They've had some big injuries to big foot players. Solanke, massive presence up front. He's a good centre forward, in my opinion. You've got Maddison and Kulusevski who are missing. For me, they're their three players, and you've got the two centre halves, and then probably need. Well, I like Conor Gallagher. They brought Conor Gallagher in, so they're building around. They've just got to get them players fit at the moment. It isn't helping. Too many players injured. Too many players out for too long. I think hopefully he'll be judged next season and not this season, Thomas Frank.
Yeah. Dawes, on that, do you think he's already been judged by the Spurs fans? Do you know what I mean? Is there a way back? Because it feels. I
certainly hope so. I echo what Merce says. I mean, you look at your front line of Dominic Solanke coming back in. We've seen a massive difference when he plays up top. You go Kulusevski on the right, Maddison in the 10, Simons, which Ben said, we're starting to see some glimpses what we expected from him, but it takes time. The two in the middle of the pack. Conor Gallagher for me was a no-brainer, with Bentancur getting injured, being out for the season, and people say it's very similar to what they have with a Bergvall, an Archie Gray, a Polina, Pape Sarr. It's similar. No, he's been captain at Chelsea. He's been to Atletico Madrid and he's come back. And I saw the second goal last week for Dominic Solanke where he beats two Man City. He's a drive in the middle of the park. I think he can bring leadership to the group, which they need. They're a pretty young group. Yeah. And when you're missing the experience of Maddison and Kulusevski, which we keep talking about, it's going to be a challenge for Thomas. So I hope he gets an opportunity to put things right and get Spurs up the table. And you look at the Champions League, it's going okay in that.
That's it. Well, that is Spurs. Dawes, you're leaving us now because you've got the Friday night football.
Not after what he just said about the Champions League, was it?
Well, you got the Friday night football. Leeds, Nottingham Forest, of course you do. You did a swap there for Stuart Dallas. Very good. So we'll let you get to that. Right, stay exactly where you are. Next, we will go live to